Arsenal selling Leandro Trossard sounds like a normal transfer decision. A player in his 30s, 1 year left on his contract, a reported fee on the table, a chance to refresh the attack. But this case is not that simple, because Trossard is not just a name on the squad list. He is a function. He is the player Arsenal have used when the attack needs intelligence, control, calm finishing, and flexibility across the front line. So if Arsenal let him go, the real question is not just how much money they receive. The real question is what role disappears with him. And if that role is not replaced properly, Arsenal may solve the contract problem and create a football problem. Now let's be careful with the case. This is not a confirmation that Leandro Trossard has left Arsenal. At the time of this recording, the situation is being reported as a club-to-club agreement, with personal terms still needing to be resolved. That matters, because we do not treat reports like completed transfers. But even as a reported exit story, this case is already important, because Trossard is not just another squad player. He gives Arsenal a specific type of attacking value: calmness, flexibility, experience, tight space intelligence, a player who can come into awkward games and still find a finish, a pass, or a moment. So yes, the business logic may make sense. Age, contract, reported fee, squad refresh. But the football question is sharper. If Arsenal let Trossard go, what exactly are they losing? Not just the name, the function. This is where the Trossard case becomes more complicated, because if you look at it only from a business angle, the argument is easy. He is not one of Arsenal's youngest attackers. He is not guaranteed to start every major game. There is reportedly money on the table, and if Arsenal want to refresh the attack, selling at the right time can make sense. That is the ruthless version of squad planning. But football squads are not built only on resale value. They are built on solutions, and Trossard has been one of Arsenal's useful solutions in difficult moments, when the game is tight, when spaces are small, when Arsenal need calmness around the box, when Arteta needs someone who can play from the left, through the middle, or as a flexible attacking option. That kind of player is not always spectacular, but he is useful. And useful players become very important when a season starts testing the squad. So the case is not whether Arsenal should be sentimental. They should not. The case is whether Arsenal can replace what Trossard actually gives them. Now this is why the replacement question matters, because replacing Trossard is not as simple as signing a younger attacker. That might sound like progress, but it depends on the type of attacker. If Arsenal sign pure pace, they may become more explosive, but do they still have the same calmness in tight spaces? If Arsenal sign a powerful runner, they may add physical threat, but do they still have the same intelligence around the box? If Arsenal sign a touchline winger, they may stretch the pitch, but do they still have a player who can drift inside and solve awkward moments? That is the danger. A new player can look like an upgrade in one area, and still leave Arsenal weaker in another. So the question is not simply who replaces Trossard. The better question is, which Trossard function must Arsenal protect? Because if Arsenal sell the player and lose the function, the squad has not been upgraded properly. It has only been changed. This is where Arsenal have to be very precise, because the wrong replacement can make the squad look more exciting, but less complete. A younger attacker may give you more pace, a stronger runner may give you more power, a touchline winger may give you more width. But Trossard's value has never been just about one obvious weapon. His value is in the situations that do not always look clean. The tight game, the crowded box, the moment where Arsenal need calm instead of chaos, the bench option who understands where to appear, the attacker who can cover more than one role without forcing the entire system to change. That is not easy to replace. So if Arsenal move him on, the next attacker cannot simply be different. Different is not automatically better. The next attacker has to give Arsenal something new, without stripping away the function Trossard still provided. Now we have to look at what this means for Arteta, because managers do not only need their best 11, they need tools, they need players for different match states. They need someone for the game where Arsenal are chasing, someone for the game where Arsenal need control, someone for the game where the opposition sits deep and refuses to open up, someone who can enter from the bench and understand the rhythm immediately. That is where Trossard has been useful. He is not always the most explosive option. He is not always the most physically dominant option, but he gives Arsenal a different texture, a different kind of decision maker, a player who can slow the moment down when others are rushing. So if Arsenal sell him, they have to be honest. Are they only clearing space, or are they removing one of Arteta's problem-solving tools? Because losing a starter is obvious. Losing a useful tool can be quieter, but still damaging when the season becomes uncomfortable. This is where the Trossard decision becomes a real test of Arsenal's squad planning, because the easiest thing to do is look at the age, the contract, the reported fee, and say the sale makes sense, and maybe it does. But elite clubs do not only ask, can we sell? They ask, what happens after we sell? That is the question Arsenal must answer. If Trossard leaves, who gives Arteta that calm option in tight games? Who can come off the bench and immediately understand the rhythm? Who can play from the left, through the middle, or as a false 9 type option when the match state demands something different? Who gives Arsenal control in awkward attacking moments? Because if the replacement is only younger, faster, or more explosive, that may improve one part of the squad, but it may also remove another, and that is the hidden risk. Arsenal cannot replace Trossard with a profile that looks exciting, but leaves Arteta with fewer solutions. Now we have to deal with the counter-argument, because some Arsenal fans will say this is exactly what ruthless clubs do. They sell before the value disappears. They refresh before the player declines. They move on before sentiment starts controlling squad planning. And that argument is not wrong. Keeping every useful player forever is not how elite squads are built. At some point, a club has to make uncomfortable decisions, especially when a player is older, entering the final part of his contract, and there is a reported fee available. That is the cold side of recruitment. But this is where Arsenal have to be careful. Ruthless does not mean careless. Ruthless means knowing exactly what you are removing and exactly how you are replacing it. Because if Trossard leaves and Arsenal replace him with a player who gives more pace but less intelligence, or more power but less calm, or more width but less flexibility, then the squad has changed. But it has not necessarily improved. That is the line Arsenal cannot cross. So where does that leave the Trossard case? It leaves Arsenal with a decision that looks simple from the outside, but is much more delicate inside the squad. If the reported move happens, Arsenal may be doing something sensible. They may be selling at the right time. They may be protecting value. They may be clearing space for the next version of the attack. That is the clean argument. But the dangerous part is what comes after, because Trossard's value has never been only about being the fastest, strongest, or most explosive attacker. His value is that he gives Arsenal a different answer, a calmer answer, a smarter answer, a flexible answer. And if Arsenal remove that without replacing it properly, the attack may look fresher, but lose one of its problem-solving tools. That is why this case is not emotional. It is functional. Selling Trossard can be smart, but only if Arsenal already know what function must come next. So here's the verdict. Arsenal selling Leandro Trossard is not automatically a mistake. At his age, with his contract situation, and with a reported fee on the table, the business logic is understandable. This is what serious clubs sometimes have to do. They sell before value disappears. They refresh before the squad becomes stale. They make uncomfortable decisions before emotion takes over. But the football case is different, because Trossard is not just a squad name. He is a function. He gives Arsenal calmness in tight spaces, flexibility across the front line, bench impact, controlled finishing, and a useful answer when games become awkward. So if Arsenal let him go, the job is not simply to replace the player, it is to replace the role. If Arsenal already know what function comes next, the sale can be ruthless and smart, but if they sell the tool without replacing what the tool actually does, the squad may look fresher on paper, and still lose something Arteta needed. That is the hidden risk, not the sale itself, the missing function after the sale. Case closed. If you want Arsenal analysis that looks past the headline and follows the evidence, this is exactly what Cannon Casefile is built for. The next case is already open.